Ezra is a book. Hold on. Thing is, it'll just wait a second. It'll go again. We're talking about the book of Ezra, but the problem of dealing with the book of Ezra is that you have to think of Ezra not as a single book, but as part of a two-volume work, which we call Ezra Nehemiah. And in fact, in Nehemiah, we find out more about Ezra, the scribe, than we do in the book of Ezra. In fact, there's a whole load of confusion about this, because in standard Western Bibles, there are two books, Ezra and Nehemiah, but in some of them they're called one Esdras and two Esdras. And in older Bibles, there were sometimes 3 and 4 Esdras. And in some modern Bibles, such as the NRSV, you can find in one part 1 and 2 Ezra, Ezra and Nehemiah, and in another part you can find 3 and 4 Esdras. So in lots of Bibles, people get utterly confused. The one I want to talk about is the book that's known as just EZRA, Ezra, or 1 Esdras. The story is that the king of Persia, greatest king on earth, he is very anxious for the Jews to return to Palestine, and there they will rebuild their temple, and they will do this because this is needed for the whole good of the empire and indeed the whole good of humanity. And then it's the story of the return and how they set out to build and how there's problems with the building and how they plan the building. And so there is a story, but it's not really a very exciting story. It's the sort of story that a theologian would think up merely just to hang his theological storyline of re-establishing the covenant and the importance of renewing the covenant. He just wants a story to hang that on. Curiously, a lot of the books of the Bible are written from the perspective of a preacher speaking to the people. The book of Ezra is written as almost a royal official describing what royalty are going to do for the Jewish people. Who wrote the book of Ezra, we do not know. Ezra is the central figure and is claimed to be the author. Ezra is the ideal theologian. It's a very academic book. You can see that the people who wrote this book lived in a place where there were lots of books, and when Ezra finally does make an appearance in the book of Nehemiah, he is the archetypal theologian. He sits on the days, the students are around him, he's got assistant teachers, and they're reading books and studying them. So it's a very academic vision of religion. It is terribly important to rebuild the temple. This will re-establish the covenant. This will bring the people back into harmony with God.